This is my third video and second on the book Atomic Habits. Last time I talked about the chapter 1, the surprising power of atomic habits. And in this chapter, actually, there were two sections. I talked about why small habits make a big difference. Small habits make a big difference. And this is a very important part of the book that I believe everyone should understand. Small habits can make a huge difference because we need to learn what a habit is. A habit is a behavior that becomes easier after you repeat it. We are not born with habits, we make them. We make things easier by repeating them. Now, we can repeat the bad things and make them easier and make our life harder as a consequence, or we can repeat the good things and make them easier and make our life better as a consequence. So that's why small habits, all small, easy to do tasks, when we repeat them, they can make a huge difference in the end. Here we said, you get what you repeat. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. Magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Wow, bad habits can make time your enemy. Like using phone in commute, uh, on the bed. You might be doing those things initially when you are in control, but as we said, whatever you do becomes easier. Now, since using phone or social media, you are spending quite a lot of time with them, they will become easy, and after years down the line, time will magnify your failure. On the contrary, reading books every day, initially they will be hard, but again, they will become a habit through repetition, and time will magnify it. You start reading a few books to build the habit. Once the habit is formed and time passes by, you might have read like 20, 30 books by then. Habits are a double-edged sword. Bad habits can cut you down just as easily as good habits can build you up. Which is why understanding the details is crucial. Yeah, understanding the details. You must learn human nature. You must learn your own nature so that you can live a life that is aligned with human nature. You need to know how habits work and how to design them to your liking so you can avoid the dangerous half of the blade. You not only need to know how habits work, the science behind them, but you need to learn how you can use that science in your own life. Only then you can avoid the dangerous half of the blade, the negative effect of habit formation. Good stuff, good stuff. Now we will move on to this part, what progress is really like. What progress is really like. Habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold and unlock a new level of performance. In the early and middle stages of any quest, there is often a valley of disappointment. You expect to make progress in a linear fashion. Hmm. So when we are actually starting to make habits, so here he says habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold. I would say behavior often appears to make no difference because habit is something you do automatic, but behavior is something you do consciously. Habits is our automatic behavior. And yeah, when you are consciously repeating a behavior, then yes, you will be actually thinking about it. And when you think too much about it, you will realize that it doesn't make too much uh, progress in your life. And it's frustrating how ineffective changes can seem during the first days, weeks, and even months. It doesn't feel like you are going anywhere. It's a hallmark of any compounding process. The most powerful outcomes are delayed. Yeah, habit formation is a compound process. It's not a linear process. You don't get the same result every single day. Habits become powerful the more you repeat them, and the more powerful they become, the bigger result you will get. It's like how one person starts smoking a cigarette one day at a time, but then when the habit becomes so strong that that person cannot live without smoking an entire pack of cigarettes. That's what we say about compounding process. First, we are making a very small conscious effort of smoking one cigarette, but after years, the person is smoking an entire pack without thinking. That's the power of the negative side of a habit. And then we call it an addiction. It starts as a bad habit, and then it becomes so strong we call it an addiction. This is one of the core reasons why it is so hard to build habits that last. Interesting. People make a few small changes, fail to see a tangible result, and decide to stop. Once this kind of thinking takes over, so there was an example I cut out that one person goes to gym, but after a few weeks he doesn't see any result in his body, and that person stops. I don't know about that kind of thinking. That kind of thinking seems too stupid to me, because because it's about the action, right? Let's say if a student is studying and he's not getting result, it's not because there's not anything wrong with how he's studying. It's because he hasn't studied enough. So it's not like skipping gym will make you better. That's what I'm saying. You go to gym, you don't see results. Does that mean you stop going to gym? Would that make you look better? No. So I don't know why would anyone take a small action and see no result and stop taking action. But I think that's how people think. So once people put a little bit of effort and don't see results, they quit. That's very stupid in my opinion, because quitting doesn't fix any problem either. Once this kind of thinking takes over, it's easy to let good habits fall by the wayside. But in order to make a meaningful difference, habits need to persist long enough to break through this plateau, what I call the plateau of latent potential. Interesting. Yeah, so he says that the best motivation is progress, and to actually see progress, you need to persist through the initial days of your behavior. So it could be like learning a new language. In the first few months, you won't be able to know uh, too much, and you might say, well, I'm putting too much time and I'm not getting any result. But after you persist through that period and you actually start to see that result, you have passed through the plateau of latent potential. And once you actually start to see result, then you don't need to convince yourself to put in effort, because now you're seeing that your results are actually providing benefits. So in order to make a habit, you need to realize that In the initial days, you won't see progress. You have to make your mind. In the initial days, you won't see progress. If you find yourself struggling to build a good habit or break a bad one, it is not because you have lost your ability to improve. It is often because you have not yet crossed the plateau of latent potential. Yeah, so when you put in effort in the initial day and don't see result, it doesn't mean that your work is going to waste. It is actually getting stored. Complaining about not achieving success despite working hard is like complaining about an ice cube not melting. I like that ice cube example he gives. I didn't write it down. When you heated it from 25 to 31 degrees, your work was not wasted. It is just being stored. All the action happens at 32 degrees. Yeah, you need to be extremely calm and satisfied with your work, and knowing that your work is not getting wasted, it is getting stored. All big things come from small beginnings. All big things come from a small beginning. Yes, the seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. Yeah, everything has a first time, right? You can look at a very professional programmer, but there must have been the day one for him as well. Or a person in a very good physique, there must have been the day one for him as well. So you need to go through, everyone goes through this plateau of latent potential in any aspiration. You can't cheat it, and the more you put work off because you think that you are not good enough, you are just wasting time. You must realize that whatever you want to pursue, there will be plateau of latent potential where you will be putting work and seeing no result. All big things come small beginnings. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision, but as that decision is repeated, a habit sprouts and grows stronger. Yeah, it can apply this on negative habits as well. No one decides to become addicted to smoking. Everyone who smoked, you if you ask them, they will say, well, I just tried it one day and here I am now smoking for 20 or 30 years. So every good or bad thing, behavior, every good or bad habit starts from one single tiny decision. That's why you must avoid bad things, especially things that you haven't tried yet. Be lucky that you haven't tried bad things. It could be video games, it could be social media. So, uh, more often than not, we see some new product and we want to try it. But I think we should run away from new things. We should be grateful because after trying that, it could potentially become a part of our life that we don't want it to. So I guess let's go back and read the summary. Habits are a double-edged sword. They can work for you or against you, which is why understanding the details is essential. Yep. You need to know how habits work so you can actually use them for your success, not for your failure. Small changes often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold. The most powerful outcome of any component process are delayed. You need to be patient. I guess that's the reason why so many people are unsuccessful in life. They don't understand that in the starting part, your progress, you won't be able to see any progress, and that's how they fall into negative patterns. Because in negative patterns, you also don't see progress in the starting days, negative progress. I guess this is it for chapter 1, and next time we can talk about chapter 2. Looking forward to it.